MO was nice actually. We didn't have MO in our in my list, but then Brian pointed something out that looked really good, so I decided to put it on my list, and it turned out to be an amazing short. So we'll go over those plays and how we traded them yesterday. So let's start over. MO was nice actually. We did. I have oh, that was a YouTube live. All right, so I have a so here we go. So let's start with eBay. So eBay was again just an amazing trade. It gapped up on some news. But I guess the news didn't hold up very well. So let's look at how it opened up yesterday. Let's go back over here, and as you can see, again, it was up quite a bit. I don't remember the percent. I think it was like almost 20 or something. But again, up quite a lot. So let's go back over here in our 5-minute chart. And I did not trade eBay, but I know a lot of people in the chat room will call it this short. Again, it did this pop right to this level over here. Then it started selling off. Once it went below VWAP. If you waited the 5 minutes, it's exactly what we wait for. Look at the 1-minute chart, right? If you wait the 5 minutes, it does this consolidation. The minute starts selling off, this is a great entry here. And you take advantage of this amazing short. You look at the 5-minute chart. 5-minute chart is where you want to find your opening range breakdown. So you go right over here and you get in here on this pullback. That's your entry for the crack of the low. And then you can take advantage of this amazing move here. Take profits on the way down. So many of our members in the chat room took this trade. So I was seeing the comments yesterday as we were trading live, how many people were short on this one. So that's great trade there. Crown was on our watch list as well. Crown was a great opening range breakdown, but again, it just didn't seem like it had the volume, right? Right out of the gate, you didn't get enough volume. So I wasn't really focused on it, and it looked like it was going to sell off. But this setup here we see quite often. It goes below VWAP, consolidates, shoots up above VWAP. This is where you want to start looking at it, right? And get in for a long. So. But again, this one here was a little tougher to trade. If you waited for the 5 minutes, you did not get that pullback that we like to see, right? We like to see this pullback come down here. Then on the way up, that's when I like to get in for the crack of the body of the previous candle, right? So again, a little tougher to trade. And at the beginning, the volume was not there, so my attention was not on it. ARNC was a little choppy at the open. Again, just didn't do much. It dropped. It came up again. It just kind of dropped and going back and forth. Then we saw this ABCD pattern happening, this consolidation. And it became a great entry for a long here. So check out our recap. Robert also took this trade. There's a recap on YouTube on how we took this here. And also me and Brian called this out at the same time. We both got in. We both saw the same thing. We saw the volume building, cracking above this level here, and we went in for a long. So it turned out to be a good trade. J&J was on our watch list, but didn't do much. Very choppy. Look at this action here in the 5-minute chart. Just nothing much happening. And again, just that turned out to be something that was not really in play. MO, so let's talk about MO because this was an amazing short here. So MO, if you were with us yesterday in the pre-market show, you saw that the pre-market action was pretty horrible. Again, just nothing happening here. But Brian saw something that I did not see. He liked the way this was spiking up, how much it was gapping down. So I put it on my watch list. I had one more to watch, and I'm glad I did because look at this beautiful drop here. Now, to take this for opening range breakdown, as we were talking in the chat room, you have to wait for this pullback. If you chase something here and then you get stuck in the actual pullback, you know, that can stop you out big time. So we waited the 5 minutes. If you didn't wait the 5 minutes and you got in before, then that would have been a great entry because it never gave you a chance to, you never tested your entry, right? It just kind of kept dropping. But I really like to wait for this pullback. We get a little pullback here on the 5-minute mark, candle here. That's when you want to get in for a short and then for the crack of this as it makes its way down. So we did a recap on that yesterday, so make sure to check that out as well. That turned out to be an amazing short. And then it never bounced back. You know, a lot of people, even myself, I was waiting for the reversal here, and it never came, right? It just kind of hung around this level 45.61, and it just hung out there. Then it sold off some more and never really bounced above VWAP after that. All right, so that was our watches from yesterday. And then staff, I was watching staff, but look at staff. It turned out to do nothing, right? It consolidated. It could have been possible breakout here for a fallen angel strategy, but it didn't really get the momentum to keep that going. So that was hard to get into that trade. And then what was the other one we had? I forgot the other one we had. We had a WDM or something. That was also didn't turn out to be a good trade. All right, let's get into what we have today. And finding some levels and seeing what is in our gappers list. But before we do that, I want to share with you guys a link here. I want to make sure, especially for we get a lot of questions in regards to what you call what determines a good pre-market action, a good pre-market watch list. And we have class 2 up on our channel, so I'm gonna send the link now. Make sure you check that out because what that does is It provides you with a good pre-market action. Andrew goes through all the details on there on what is a good pre-market action, what is a bad pre-market action, and how to find these levels. It's over an hour long, so it's class 2 in our training, in our chat room. So make sure you check that out. Let's go in here, put some levels. And again, it's a good class for anyone that's starting out, but also a great reminder for traders that are been doing this for a while already. Because again, you wanna be confident when you're not doing great, and you want to be grounded when you're doing good, right? That's the key here. When you're doing great, you don't want to feel like you're untouchable, because the market will definitely show you who's boss. So you want to make sure you're grounded, and when you're not doing well, you want to make sure you stay confident, right? That's the hardest thing when you're on a losing streak or having a bad day or two in a row. You lose that confidence, so you want to make sure you keep that on there. All right, so let's get started here in our gappers list, looking a bit long. So we got a bit of work for us to do today. So SYF is gapping up 12%, 403,000 shares traded so far. So let's look what is going on here. What is the float for this? 718 million shares float. So that's quite a bit. All right, so it's a big gap here. So let's find some levels. Actually, we'll do some levels after. The pre-market action looks okay. Where's the volume? All right, so I see it's all here coming in now. So the pre-market action looks okay. It doesn't look too great. We'll see if it gets better as the morning develops. As usual, it's a bit early, only 8:40 Eastern time. IBM in our gappers list today. 213,000 shares traded so far. It is up 7.6. So gapping up quite a bit. That's a lot for a stock that's trading around $122. Gapping up 7.5 is quite a bit, as you can see in the chart here. So IBM has some good news. Looks like we'll find some levels for that. Looks like it's going to be in play. Pre-market action looks okay. You had this big bounce here. We want to see more volume here, though. Build a good pre-market action. So again, you have the huge volume that happened here when it started to gap up. But now here we want to see this volume continue to build with consistency to build a good flow, a good pre-market action. Next, we're going to go over to PG. What is PG doing today? PG gapping up 4.5, 221,000 shares traded so far. So gapping up quite a bit. What is the market doing? Is the market gapping up? No, it's not. My market is kind of, again, just flat. So some of these gaps are actually good. All right, so the market is kind of flat again, still hanging around that 265, 260 area. We're kind of, we broke a little higher here, but it kind of stuck within this range at the moment. Not deciding whether it wants to go up or down. So I think we're going to be going sideways for a bit here until the market decides what it wants to do here. But again, we had such an aggressive bounce from this 235 level. So we'll see what the market does. Again, I know a lot of people, Brian talks about this in his weekly recaps every Sunday. So make sure you check that out on YouTube as well, where a lot of people got caught short here expecting this to come back down. And it hasn't. And the market looks strong, like it wants to probably go higher. So we'll see. All right, so back to PG. PG here, not the best pre-market action at the moment. It does have the volume, but again, it just has a huge volume over here, some over here, but right now it's kind of pretty flat. So might be something that we drop off. UTX, it is 121,000 shares traded so far. It is up 4%, but not a great pre-market action. Look at this pre-market action, guys. This is very choppy. And again, in class 2, you're going to see a lot of examples that Andrew talks about. What's a great pre-market action and what's a horrible one. This is a horrible one. Now, can a horrible pre-market action turn better later? Yes. Can a horrible pre-market action still have a great open? Absolutely. Look at MO yesterday. Had an amazing open. But you want to give yourself the best opportunity, the best chance to trade something that has a possible best outcome, kind of give you an edge in your trading. HTH, horrible pre-market action. Look at this. It's very nasty action here. So we'll just get rid of this. I'm never going to give it a chance to come back. CMCSA, we traded this before in the past plenty of times. What is it doing today? Today it is up 2.8, almost 3, 280,000 shares traded so far. So we'll see if the volume builds up on this. Not a great pre-market chart at the moment, but again, it kind of looks like the market, right? You have this big drop, the bounce, and then kind of consolidating sideways now. Huge drop yesterday. Look at this drop all the way to 35, and now it's bouncing back a bit. So Let's see what it does. It needs to get a better pre-market action. Doesn't look great right now. Doesn't have the volume. Although it has 286,000 shares, it's all kind of sitting right over here. Okay, so let's see what we have over here. Just want to make sure sound is good in our chat room. All right, so so let's see how it builds up. Hopefully, it can keep a steady volume here and continue to get a better pre-market action. Next, we have Teva. Teva is one of our buddies. We traded plenty of times as well. Has been good to us. Here, the pre-market action does not look great right now. 198,000 shares traded so far, gapping up 2.8. So look at all these levels we have on Teva. That's how many times we have traded this thing. So I'll reset these levels. We'll keep Teva on here for now. Let's see if the volume builds and it gets better as we get deeper into the morning. Our buddy SQ is on here. See what Square has for us today. All right, this is a good pre-market action here. So it's starting to build some kind of flow here on an uptrend. The volume has to come in though. It's got to keep steady. Right now it's a little dry, a little flat, but it has 251,000 shares traded so far, gapping up 2.4. And daily chart, again, daily chart is kind of a big drop yesterday and kind of bouncing back a bit now. All right, so that's SQ. Next we have Cron. Cron has just been on a tear. How did it end the day yesterday? Yeah, so it kind of sold off a bit yesterday, but again, it's selling off after making new all-time high. So new all-time high yesterday looks like it was on 16. Then it dropped a bit, but still, this is still a very strong pattern here. So let's see what Cron does today. Right now, at the moment, 105,000 shares traded. Not much, but I think Cron will be in play today. There might be some profit taken at the open, and then it can settle in and take off. So it's gapping up 2.3. Again, daily chart looks very strong. I expect there'll be some profit taken here, so you might not want to trade this right at the open unless you get a great opportunity for opening range breakdown. Kind of what happened yesterday. Yesterday it opened up strong and sold off a bit. Then it went above VWAP and it took off. So we'll keep Cron here for now. AMRN. All right, so AMRN. Where's the volume? 131,000 shares traded, but look at this pre-market action. I mean, you don't want no part of this. This is a horrible pre-market action, and usually stocks that trade like this tend to open up very choppy. So we're gonna get rid of AMRN. Next we have is Tesla, higher price stock trading at 290 today. It has 223,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market action seems to be building. Doesn't look great right now, but from here, as you can see, when the volume starts coming in, right, it starts to get a better flow. And then look at this here. This is all chopped. This is all messy. So it could turn out to be a great stock to trade today. Tesla is a little higher price for me, so I don't watch Tesla based on the way I trade my buying power. So I'm going to remove that one. All right, now Andrews has joined us. He's going to be trading from the hotel room today, so hopefully no power outages for him, no connection issues and all that. We'll see how that goes today. He'll be joining us later. AZN is not a great pre-market action. Again, it has 196,000 shares traded here. It is up 1.9, but look at the volume is all in this one candle here. Now, does not mean it cannot get better, but right now this does not look great at all. There's no good pre-market action. What is the daily chart? Oh, this must be a foreign stock, because look at this daily chart, how many gaps you have, right? I'm gonna get rid of AZ, and we have plenty of other great stocks here that we can actually watch today. All right, so let's look at PTCT. PTCT gapping down. Oh, this is good. Gapping down 9.9, 123,000 shares traded so far. So the daily chart looks good. I like the fact that it has lost, this much, and it's down to this level here. So a clear level right here, 28.75 or so. But the pre-market action, actually, it's not that bad. It's holding a level here. It's not that bad. It just needs to get a little more volume. Only 125,000 shares traded so far. It is before 9 o'clock, but I do like the fact that it's dropping so much. 9.5 on a stock that's 33 bucks. That's quite a bit. So we'll definitely keep this on our watch and see how the pre-market action develops. Next, we have anything else we haven't covered in our gappers list. I think that that's about it. So these are gappers list, guys, for anybody joining us for the first time. And now we're going to go over our Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers. So what happens here, usually in this list, we find what are low floats, technically sometimes, because the ATR is very small, but they could be in play today if they're getting the type of volume that will make them jump into these scanners. So up first, we have XNGX, again, 373,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market action does not look too good. Again, you have some spurts of volume, but pre-market action does not look great, so I'm not going to watch that one. ATHX, 600,000 shares traded so far. It is up 16.5. So has sold off most of it already. But again, this pre-market action, I don't like this pre-market action right now. So I'm not a fan of this one at the moment. Next, we have XTLB, no volume. On to the next one, MDGS, 80,000 shares traded, up 11.8. Right now, pre-market action does not look great. Nothing here. Next one, MYOS, nothing happening there. BPTH, no volume. RIGL, horrible pre-market action. It does have the volume. I mean, look at it. There's 259,000 shares. It is gapping up 8.9. But again, just the pre-market action doesn't look healthy here at all. Let's head down to INSY. Nothing happening here. PYXY, horrible pre-market action. All right, so let's see. I think, yeah, see, these have the volume, but they're just. I don't like the pre-market action. So yeah, we're not gonna force it. ATHX, also looking at it here again, has the volume, but look, all the volume is just sitting on this one candle, right? We want to see that steady volume at a consistent pace that creates that nice flow. So we can also look at these in our scanners, right? We have our trade idea scanners, high of day bull flag and things like that, turbo breakup, turbo breakdown. If they show up there, that can also be a indicator for us to look at those stocks. All right, next we have AMD here. AMD has a pretty bad pre-market action. We didn't watch AMD yesterday. Let's see how AMD traded. Let's take a look at how it did yesterday. I know some people, actually I know Peter took his short right from VWAP. He caught a really nice trade here. Look at this engulfing pattern, very clear. Starts losing it once it gets above these levels, and then it's just he gets in around this area here, takes partials on the way down, and it just continues to drop nicely. So but then after that, it just becomes very choppy. This is untradeable. From here to here, this is very untradeable. Hard to catch a move. Your move was either here at the opening range breakup, take profits on the way up, and then once it loses it, get in here below VWAP for a short. All right, so AMD has the volume, but not a great pre-market action. HTHT, we saw that, just not great. No, not a great pre-market action right now. That's a ETF. Ears, no good. That's not tradable. Eric is also no volume. I mean, it has the volume, 402,000 shares traded, but again, it's all, look at this pre-market action, so not a good pre-market action. SNGX we saw earlier today as well. Again, not a great pre-market action. It can hold this and maybe get the volume and take off, but maybe not. So we'll wait for this to hit our scanners if it's going to be in play today. CMCSA we have in our watch list, holding this level here. So we looked at this earlier already. The volume is there, 351,000 shares. Hopefully becomes more steady, right? Again, we need to get more volume here at a steady pace to create a good flow. Next, we have RIGL. RIGL we saw also on the Nasdaq gainer. What's the flow on this one? Let's see if this one could be a possible as the morning develops. 147 million shares traded. All right, so that's not, I mean, float 147. That's not too bad. All right, let's watch this one. This is not a low float, but it is a lower price. So I am going to put it over here as a, as a riskier stock, because you do have to watch the number of shares you take. Again, right now it doesn't look like it has a great pre-market action, but it has gapped up almost 11%. When it does get the volume, it tends to run. As you can see here, it ran here, also here. Didn't run much on this. Actually, it could have, because it went down and all the way up. So when it gets the volume, it does run. Let's see what this one does today. Can someone confirm on Finviz? Just make sure the flow is accurate, because again, this looks like a low flow. I want to make sure that 147 is accurate. Get a second pair of eyes on it. All right, guys. So that's our list so far. Anything you're watching on your end that I have not gone through? All right, so SQ, yes, SQ I have on here. SQ is looking great right now, tons of volume. Look at this nice flow that it has right now, going above VWAP. Daily charts looking nice as well. It kind of sold off hard yesterday, and now it's bouncing back from this 268 level. So yeah, SQ looks like it's going to be in play today. SQ tends to open up a bit choppy, so you want to be careful with SQ when we traded early this morning. All right, what do we have next? TEL. Let's look at that. All right, TEL. TL again is gapping down 4.4, so that's nice, and that's quite a bit if your stock is 80 bucks, right? 4% or more. But at the moment, it doesn't really have the volume. Now, this could be something you can put on your side list for a mid-morning play, right? If the volume comes in, then it takes into a nice trend trade. You can watch this later in the mid-morning. Over here we have VIPS. All right, so VIPS, no volume at the moment. It is gapping up 5.3, but the volume doesn't look great. Again, you have all the volume just sitting on these candles over here. And then in here, really, you have just spurs of volume, so not the best pre-market action right now. IBM, we have eBay. eBay was great yesterday. Let's see if eBay is going to be in play today. Could be. Usually stocks that are in heavy play the day before tend to be in play the next day. Right now, the volume is pretty light. And it's kind of going sideways, not really gapping up or down, just up about 0.73. So this could be good for later in the morning, a mid-morning play. But at the open, I wouldn't watch eBay because again, the volume is not there. But we will look for this in our turbo breakdown, turbo break up. If it pops into there, we can focus in on it. And MO, someone mentioned MO. MO is was a great trade yesterday. Sold off really hard on some news, and then today not doing much. Look at the volume, only 14,000 shares traded, barely up 1%. So again, maybe not a best player for the open, but maybe later in the afternoon, in the mid-morning, it can turn into something, or in the afternoon. All right, so 170 is correct for RIGL. All right, so that's a higher flow. Good. All right, guys, let's make this list a little smaller. ABIL. ABIL, again, no volume on this one. So it's gapping down 3%, but you don't have the volume, so it's not one that will be in play at the open. All right, cool. So let's get into this list. Let's see what we can make this a little smaller. We have one more from Day Trader on YouTube. APHA has the volume, 179,000 shares traded so far, but the pre-market action does not look great. Right, so this pre-market action right now doesn't look good at the moment. So you have most of and the reason why pre-market actions don't look great sometimes, because you have this, right? You have this one candle that has almost half the volume, right? So that creates not a great pattern. If you have 179,000 shares traded, but they're all spread out, evenly between the volume, it creates a nice flow to it. So this I won't be watching right at the open. All right, so let's start from the top again. Let's make this list a little smaller. Let's eliminate the weak. SYF is gapping up 13%, has the volume, 639,000 shares traded so far. I like the fact that it's gapping up 13%. So let's find some levels here. Towards the top side, we have this peak over here at 31.58. It's kind of sitting on the level. I like these consolidation levels, right, because they tend to mean something. So I'm going to mark down this one over here at 29.48. You can also mark the high of I'm not going to mark the high of day because it looks like it's about to crack it anyways. So above that, we can possibly mark this day over here. You see this drop over here, and this day becomes support. But then on the following days, it becomes resistance. You see this? They kind of just banging their head around that level and then bouncing back. So that could mean something. Now, towards the downside, if we break that 29.48, we have a clear level. There's a clear one over here, obviously. Right over here at 27.61. Then we have another one here at 28.53. So plenty of very clean levels here. Again, this stock is looking very strong right now, has the volume, and it's uptrending nicely, making newer highs. So this will be in play today for sure. IBM has the volume, 307,000 shares traded so far. It is gapping up 7%. What is the news on IBM? Let's check here. We have Benzinga. For those that are not part of our chat room, this is something you get with your subscription as well to our chat room. You get access to Benzinga news. You can click on here, type IBM, hit enter, and let's see what's the news yesterday. All right, so they beat earnings, the cloud revenue up 12%. Yep, that's gonna make your stock pop up. I'll do it. All right, so this is good. Some news happening here, some positive news. So let's find some levels. And again, you got to be careful with the news too. You got to make sure you're not biased to the news, because sometimes you get these news and people start taking profits. Now, if I'm here, if this is me at 122 and this thing pops up 7%, I'm gonna take profits, right? So keep that in mind as well. Don't be biased. We have a level at the low of the day at 29.50. Below that, in case we drop, we have this peak right over here at around 26.44. Above this, we're kind of banging our head against this level right over here on these days at a 131.84. Above that, we have a peak over here at 136. Then you got some moving averages coming in around 136.92 as well. And then we can also mark this 133.80 over here, so 134.15. So plenty of levels on IBM. Let's see what it does here. Right now, it has the volume. It's kind of moving sideways a bit after gapping out 7.1. Next, we have PG. PG, 248,000 shares traded so far. Let's find some levels for PG. So we got this top all the way over here at 96.87. Then we have the high of the pre-market at the moment, 94.96. Look at that 94.96. How that level has been tested several times. You see that? So that becomes here. Once it breaks that level, 94.96. Look what it does. It takes off, right? So that's a good sign. So if it can break that 94.92, well, you know, it most likely it can run higher, or it can bounce from here and start selling off. So let's see what it does today. Then clear levels towards the bottom. You have this one over here at 93.26. You have these days kind of bouncing from that level. Very clear resistance right there. That could also be a place of support if it drops. Possible profit taking. All right, so very clean levels on PG. Pre-market action right now is it's looking great. This candle is kind of distorting how good the pre-market action is. So we'll just zoom in a little bit here. See, that looks a little bit better on the 5-minute chart. So again, just good pre-market action right now. Let's see if it stays that way. UTX gapping up 5.5, 141,000 shares traded so far. UTX looks like we traded in the past, because I do have some levels here. And actually, let me see if these levels are still good. Yeah, they are. So that 119.27 you can see is support for all these days here. Been bouncing off that 119.27. Above that we have 121.89, and above that we have 123.53, which is the top, right? So all these days here are kind of just bouncing around these three levels here, right? So that's a good levels there. Towards the bottom you have the previous day high from 2 days ago, previous day high from yesterday, and then all the way down here obviously the previous day close. So plenty of levels on UTX. Let's see what the pre-market action is doing right now. Yeah, it's looking so. Again, it needs to get more volume. It's looking all right. So depending on how the day goes, the morning goes with this one, I might drop this one off. I like the daily chart, some very clean levels. I like the fact that it is gapping up 5.2. That's a lot for a stock that's priced at 111, 116. So, but the pre-market action, the volume is not there just yet. CMCSA. Again, it started off well, but it's not getting the momentum. It's not getting the volume, right? So it has 500,000 shares traded so far, gapping up 2.7, but it's not looking great. We'll find some levels, but this might be one that I might drop off later today. So higher pre-market at the moment, 36.60. Above that, if this thing decides to run, here's what you don't see. When you have this here, you don't find clean levels. And we had this question on YouTube yesterday. And by the way, if you're watching this video after the fact and not live, feel free to leave a comment. We got all the moderators. We're looking out for comments after the show, and they will answer your questions. But there's a question we had, right? So here you can tell that there's no clean level. So what I like to do is I like to just select a level where is the consolidation is happening at, right? So here you have a 37.90. All these days are kind of bouncing against that level. It's not as clean as this level up here, right? This is a very clean level when you go up here at 39.28. That's clean. That's easy to find. Or anybody could find that level here, 39.28, very clean level. You know, you possibly have another one right over here at 38.63 because you got this spike coming down and then these levels kind of testing it. But when you have this situation when it's kind of going sideways and it's hard to find a very clean level, you just want to kind of pick something where you can see consolidation, right? There's a clear consolidation between here and here, right? Very clean. So those are the levels for there. Towards the bottom, you have 35.50. Then you also have 35 previous day close. Very clean levels there at the moment. But the issue with this one is that the pre-market action, the volume is dying down. Although it has 515,000 shares traded so far, again, it's not creating good pre-market action. Teva, let's see what Teva is doing. We traded Teva in the past plenty of times. Has the volume, 219,000 shares traded, but not the cleanest pre-market action. But I do like the daily chart on Teva. Okay, it's kind of breaking away from this this range that it had here. It's been traded between 19 and 1850, so that's kind of leaving those moving averages. I mean that range there. So let's find some levels. We have a 2030. That's a possible level here. It's kind of banging its head on itself on a level now, that 1944 towards the upside, and then towards the bottom you have some good levels towards the bottom. We can actually mark this spike over here because maybe it can come down and test that, a couple of cents down. Maybe it can come down and test that and take off. So 1915. Then also you have the previous day highs and lows sitting around 1890, and then you have the previous day close here. Now this stock doesn't move much. So again, just be careful. Even though it's a lower price stock, don't load up the boat. But it's a stock that doesn't move a lot, so you're able to manage your risk fairly easy on a stock like this. All right, so that's Teva. Let's see what SQ is up to now. It was tearing it up this morning, so it's kind of a nice uptrend here. Let's find some levels. I think SQ might be in play today. I'm gonna clear all these levels here, get some fresh ones. So right now we're towards the bottom, you have the previous day close around 67.50. Towards the top, you have a previous day high and previous day high up here, and then you have the previous day low also here, which is kind of where we're at right now. And then this day also confirming that that low there. But if we decide to break these levels, what do we have? All right, so we have this is a good level here. Right over here we have a 70.62. So that's that. You have these 3 days kind of bouncing off of that, and then you also have that's already marked over here, so that's don't need that one. But you can mark this one up here, all the way up here at 74.31 if it decides to really bounce. If it decides to break the low of the day, which is pretty far from right now, I don't think we'll do that today. You have a clear one over here at 63.90, and then you also have the bottom of this day at 66.14, and you have the moving averages coming in as well. Great question, Eden, from our chat room. Why I do not mark the moving averages? Yeah, I don't mark the moving averages on the chart. I usually go by the daily chart. So I look at the daily candles and mark my levels that way. But you could use the moving averages. That's not a bad idea. Me personally, I don't use them. But for example, like here, 63.74, you know, on this day, look at these moving averages right on there, right? Look at this moving average here coming up on the previous day low. So it kind of more confirmation on there. But if I'm in a situation where I cannot find a level based on the daily chart, then I will look towards the moving averages. Or if I'm in a trade already and I have the time, because some of these trades happen so quick, you don't have the time to go back and say, hey, what's my daily chart looking like, right? But if I am in a trade that's working in my direction and already taking some profits out, right? Let's say I'm here in the 5-minute chart, this thing starts going up. I'll move to the daily chart and see if there's any other level I should be worried about. If there's any moving averages that are coming up that maybe I should use as a possible area to take profits. So again, the moving averages, I don't mark them, but they are a good indication of also possible support or resistance. All right, so SQ, very active this morning. Cron, let's see what Cron is doing. Cron again has been really strong the last several days. Doesn't have great volume right now, only 142,000 shares traded. And we do have some levels for here already. 1572. It's a level that was the last high of the pre-market yesterday. 16 is the all-time high. So above this, there are no more levels after this. So that's the all-time high right now. Again, this thing has been in a tear, so I'm definitely going to watch this just to see if we're able to get a move towards the upside. And then here we have a previous day close towards the bottom, previous day low, and then we also have another previous day low over here. Pre-market action right now looks okay. Again, just needs more volume. But again, it's just been a really good stock to trade if you're long on this. PTCT. Let's check out PTCT. What we have going on here. So it's kind of found the base at the moment. Volume is there, 240,000 shares traded. I like the fact that I like when stocks open so low like this, right? Because something's gonna happen. It's got to go one way or the other. This is not normal. You're down 8%. You got to do something for us, hopefully. So let's go back over here. Yeah, let's find some levels here. So right now, clear level right over here, guys. Doesn't get easier than that right there, 28.97. We'll mark the low of the pre-market as well, 29.53. Above that, we have this one over here, this 30.94, which is coincidentally is very close to the high of the pre-market right now. So that's good. And then here's where it's hard. Here's where it's hard to find levels. You see this here. There's no clear bounce. All right. So what I'm gonna do is just for a possible profit take, I'm gonna mark this day here. Right. I'm gonna use this one, 31.79. You have this day bouncing from it. Oops. You have. I hate when this thing does that. I requested for them to change that. All right. Here we go. You have this day bouncing from here, as well as here, and also here also. So again, 31.79. Not the cleanest level. This is very clean here. I mean, you cannot miss that level there. It's very clean. But then this becomes a little harder to find the best possible level. All right, so volume 247, kind of holding this 29.57 right now. Maybe we can get a bounce out of this. Volume is a little sporadic. It's not consistent. Hopefully, as we get closer to the open, this will get better. All right, any questions, guys, while we're going through this list here? I am going to make this list a lot smaller, and then we also have some more popping up here. Look at JD, which has been great to trade. The last 2 weeks ago, I traded JD pretty nice. Has the volume today, 136,000 shares traded so far. Yeah, but not a good pre-market action, so we may look at that today. All right, so PCG. All right, PCG. Let's look at what that's doing. PCG. This one has been was strong yesterday, and it looks like it's going to be strong today. Already up 5.2%. 107,000 shares traded so far. But you got to be careful with this one, guys. Again, it's been strong the last several days, bouncing off the all-time lows, I believe. But I'm not gonna trade this one at the moment. I think we have a lot of other great stocks we can trade today. I'll wait for that one to hit our scanners. All right, so I'm going to make this list a little smaller. We're coming up on 9:10. So let's make a list a little smaller here and see what we're going to watch. So SYF, volume is there, 761. I do like the pre-market action. I like that it's gapping up 12.1. So we'll watch that one. IBM, starting to get pretty active here. So I like IBM, 400,000 shares traded so far, gapping up 7.3 on some news. So that's good. We'll watch IBM. PG also looks good. Volume is there. It is gapping up 4.5. I do like the daily chart here. It kind of leaving this range that it was stuck in, coming up on that 94.92. And we talked about that level. If it breaks that level, it can actually go to 96.87. So that looks good, looking really strong right now. UTX, I don't like UTX. I don't like the pre-market action. Doesn't look great. It's not really getting the volume, so we'll get rid of that one. CMCSA. I'm on the fence on this one, but I'm gonna get rid of it. I mean, it has the volume, right? It's just not looking too great on the pre-market action. Teva, not looking too good. SQ, I like. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of CMCSA. I'll keep Teva. Teva looks good. Starting to get some action now, so I like Teva. See what the daily chart. Daily chart looks good on Teva too, so I like that as well. All right, SQ. We looked at SQ. SQ looks great. It's starting to get some momentum now. Been on a nice little uptrend here. 318,000 shares traded so far. Cron, although Cron's been strong, pre-market action right now doesn't look great. But we'll look for this in our turbo breakup or turbo breakdown. PTCT. I like that it's holding this level down 9%, 250,000 shares traded. Hopefully, as we get closer to 930, that gets better. So I like PTCT. What's the float on PTCT? 44. It's a little on the lower side, but not really low float. And it doesn't like it. You can kind of manage your risk on it. It's not going to drop 50 cents on you, right? So you can manage your risk on this. All right, guys. So that is my list so far. RIGL, I don't like. I'm going to get rid of this one. So this will be my watch list for today. Andrew will be on in a few minutes, and then he'll go over his watch list, and I'll see what he has on his end, and then maybe I can edit this list to pick the best possible stock for this morning. Guys, thank you for joining us on YouTube. I am going to leave the chat room on, but you guys can ask any questions to the moderators, and we'll be watching that in the meantime. Thank you, guys, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, Carlos. Good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Excellent. Good morning. Good morning. A little echo. So maybe, yeah, actually, I have no idea how to stop the echo. Well, thank you very much, Carlos. Sorry about yesterday, guys. So I'm traveling. I'll get back tonight. Um, you could speak with less vehicle. Let me see. Yeah. So first day live is worked. So take it as small. So that was a great pre-market show. I'm going quickly over. I'm not sure if I can add anything more than Carlos, but SYF is coming down, gapping up. 3067 is a level you can see on my chart, but let me share my screen because you can't see that unless unless I share my screen. There you go. All right. Yeah, you guys should be able to see my screen now. Cool. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so SYF is gapping up. Daily chart looks great because we have 3067. Stock is shortable, gapped up 20%. And on a daily chart, well, it looks really nice. So we have this